So hi guys, today Eszter and I went down to Hastings in East Sussex and we utilised the pier. So on the pier, underneath the pier and nearby you've got Bottle Alley, which is like a concrete structure which is basically the promenade on top and then sort of an underground walkway that runs along underneath, which has got interesting colours, and all of the concrete has broken bottles or bottles set in the into the concrete. So quite a bit of interesting textures and colours and things down there. We started off anyway onto the pier itself. We grabbed a drink. It was quite a nice day, and where the pier has been rebuilt after it burnt down a good few years ago now, all the new wood and everything is weathering quite nicely. So there's lots of textures. There's a bit of quirky sort of designs here or there, and it's just a massive open space, which is obviously ideal for photography, so you can get rid of your backgrounds quite nicely, or the textures and stuff like that. So we started off just simple shots. These are all natural light, there's no flash involved. The light was partially diffused by sort of a thin layer of cloud, so it wasn't really harsh. As you can see there, it's quite easily well balanced, with minimal adjustments, and just natural light. So we utilised the sort of side part of the building on top of the pier. There's all these zigzaggy types of wood and things like that, which work quite well. All the shots are shot with the Sony A7R3, the 85mm Zeiss batis f1.8. Shot at f1.8 most of the time, to be honest. It's lovely and sharp, that lens, and it just works really well. Eye focus working even from that distance there to the side of the face, so it's locking onto her eyes, keeping the focus points where it should be. Unfortunately I didn't have a polarising filter with me, so I couldn't get rid of some of the reflections or the stuff inside to try and get rid of some reflections, but I thought, I'm just going to leave it. As you can see here, and this bench is quite cool because, as you'll see in the next shot, I think it's the next shot, you can see the shadows, because the sun's nice and high. The shadows are being pushed down onto the deck. Look really cool, which worked really nicely. Eszter doing her usual stunning sort of natural looks, and everything looks great. As you can see there, just the zigzags and the colours and things like that were quite nice. And this shot here, she just jumped up on the top, stood there for a few seconds, and then I got the shot, jumped off. And as you can see, it's actually almost a distraction, but it kind of works still in the background. Then we just had a little wander around because it's such a large open space area, and obviously got the seaside view there of Hastings along the seafront, back along the beach, which worked quite nicely. And then we turned around and saw the zigzaggy windows, which we thought we've got to use these because just the reflections were bang on. Because the sun's nice and high, you weren't getting like the sun reflecting into the windows as such. You just got a lovely sort of reflection, which worked really well. And because of the angle of the windows, it was casting a reflection in each window of her. So depending on how she stood, you could have another Eszter as such, which worked like that. So there's three of her. It almost looked like triplets or something, looking through the glass, trying to talk to each other or something. It was quite cool. One of my favourite ones is where she is stood to one side, this one here. It's almost like she's looking around a bend to see her virtual self up against another wall, kind of thing. It's kind of quite like that one. It's kind of cool. Let's say all shot f1.8, and with windows, so you just got to be a bit careful with anything that's highly reflective, cars, windows, things like that. As you can see there, the camera's videoing. You can see I'm easily viewable in the glass there, which the benefits of this shot here, because the glass is angled into a point, I'm not visible in any reflections at all, which is really handy. But you just have to be a little bit careful. As you can see there to the right hand side, a few members of the public there just in shot, and I have actually made a point in one shot, this one here, that obviously you have to be a little bit careful because I'm completely exposed there, and obviously there just in shot. So you just have to be a little bit careful and look around, look for distractions like the person there with a bright yellow hat. Obviously Photoshop can get rid of certain things quite easily, but The less editing you can do, the better. So we grabbed a drink, well, opened the drink rather, and just had a little relax and a little chat. And Eszter said, for these shots here, we should be sponsored by Coca-Cola. So I'll just put the the logo and everything into the video, just because it's a bit of fun. But you never know, Coca-Cola might sponsor this. You never know. Wink, wink. We've got the lovely lady and the can of drink, so it worked quite well. We then walked onto the other side of the pier and just took a few shots, just the way that the railing runs to the right, and then obviously you've got the sea as well, and obviously the model there. This shot here, just supernatural, natural light. There was a lot of light just bouncing around off the building and things like that, so I didn't need a reflector or anything. The building, the walls, because they're relatively light, was actually just bouncing light everywhere, which was really quite good in our respect, that we could utilise that light. So really pleased with that. And then Eszter and I jumped down underneath the pier, where she's jumped up onto one of the sort of supports there.
You are, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing.
So once Eszter jumped up onto the support beams and everything like that, she said she must be the best model in the world because she's up for climbing up structures, because I've had her up trees and everything. But these shots really work quite nicely. The lights coming underneath the pier from one side was so sort of diffused and soft. It gave us this amazing sort of glow.
That's cool. That's really cool. There's really low there, yeah. I didn't see that. I like to make you work. Well, you know.
So once I'd been forgiven for being the meanie photographer for making her climb up stuff, we had a quick look at the photos, and obviously you can see they turned out rather well. Super natural, super lovely, with a little bit of action and everything like that, which worked out really nicely. With a crazy background, lots of beams and stuff everywhere. Well, as you can see, the bokeh in the background, even though I was using just natural light, you can see the rust and everything on the beams and everything was just really good. So it worked quite nice. Before we went to the pier, we decided that we would go to TK Maxx, which is just down the road, and do a 5-minute buy a dress challenge. So the dress that she's wearing in the sea and under the pier in a minute is the one she chose. So here it is. So 15 quid, I think. And unfortunately we couldn't iron it, but it still worked. It still looked great. She looks lovely in it. And off we did. So we just cracked on, got it soaking wet, so within 20 minutes of buying this dress it was wet and covered in sand and God knows what, but we got the shots. So messing around, I really wanted to take her shoes off on here, but the sort of barnacles and everything were so sharp, there was no way she would have not cut her feet open. So I decided that's fine, just leave your shoes on and we'll just go sort of midway up and above on these shots here. So the shoes weren't in shot, but they still worked really well. Quite happy with that. Like I say, the natural light coming from both sides of the pier, one obviously shooting into really bright light, but the light coming from the other side was actually lighting her and giving some really lovely light to work with. So not perfect, but still worked really well. I haven't changed lenses at all, so the lens is still the same, the Zeiss batis 85mm f1.8, and the photo is hardly touched, literally little tweaks here or there with the levels in RAW, and that's it really. Colours not actually touched at all. Sony A7R3 definitely is better, the colour rendering and everything, than the A7R2 used to be, which I'm quite pleased about. And then we moved out from under the pier into obviously normal light. But as you can see, it's quite hazy, so it was quite soft light, even though it was, you know, midday roughly. We could still get the sort of nice light and the little bit of blue in the sea. Unfortunately, the tide was on its way out, and it's quite shallow there, so the sand and everything was being pulled up, so which makes it go a little bit brown. So unfortunately, it's not like a tropical beach, but there's still quite a bit of blue there, which is nice. Then Eszter's just started doing her amazing sort of moving around. She's got a bit of a dance background, a very good dancer. She just moves and just flows, and she's so happy, smiling, that we just get shots like this without even trying, which is absolutely brilliant. One of the best things about her is she's so sort of natural in front of the camera. She just moves around. Like I say, hardly these shots hardly been touched. Literally, just been tweaked with the colours a little bit here or there, and the levels. No sharpening as such. As you can see here, just splashing the water up. It was a little bit breezy, but it was quite warm, and she was so surprised how warm the sea was, thinking it was going to be cold, but actually, well, very quickly she was on the floor, in the sand, and the waves were crashing over her. But unfortunately our parking ticket was running out, so we had to cut it short a little bit, because I didn't really want to have to pay a large parking fine. And we went up to Bottle Alley now, so we walked up into Bottle Alley, and down, as you can see, there's lots of the colours basically changed from green one end right through to different colours by the other end. I wouldn't know how long, but maybe 150 metres or so long. It's all lit up at night time, as you can see there on the right hand side, all the bottles. So we did a few shots here, and unfortunately we would have done a few more quickly, but literally loads and loads of foreign students walking down, so they were kind enough to stop and let us do a couple of shots before they carried on, because otherwise it would have had about 30 or 40 people in the background there, which obviously would have possibly ruined the shot. But they were kind enough to stop and obviously let us do what we were doing. Plus, quite a few young lads there who were obviously admiring the beautiful young lady there in front of the camera. So she had a few hellos, which was quite funny. So yeah, that was quite amusing. So we then, from using the sort of tunnel part, she jumps up on the wall and out to sea. So we're shooting here. As you can see there to the left, they all sort of stopped and waited for us for a few seconds, just to see what was going on more than anything. I think they were quite happy to see Eszter sort of strutting her stuff, and I said then go. But yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. It was so funny. But yeah, so we got a cool shot there, which worked out quite nicely. But it was literally a case of time to go to the car now. So we took this last shot here quickly, which with the pier in the background, everything worked quite nicely. There's only one thing I really wish I'd done, is I completely forgot about the colours on the back of the beach huts there, which you can see in the distance. I wish I would used the back of them now. And then we went to the A21 Diner.
Another one. Oh, it's so warm. Cool. Oh, Bart.
Sorry, thank you.
That's all right. Thanks very much. Yeah. Hello.
Should I try it? I don't know.
What do you want? You can have anything.
I can't decide.
So while we were waiting for our food, I had a quick look around, took a few pictures here or there, some of the memorabilia and the sort of cool seating and area, and then snapped a couple of shots of Eszter just sort of in the diner as such. They got a Harley Davidson in there. There's a pool table. There's loads of other bits and pieces which are kind of fitting for the diner. Just kind of cool, like the Harley Davidson here and all the backgrounds, like Route 66 and the lights and the don't walk signs and things like that. Lots of license plates from cars. Really cool place. And as you can see there, just a sort of nice seating area as well if you're just having a drink. So that worked really well. And then one of the girls asked us what we were doing. Obviously I said we've done a photo shoot. She said, well, I'll pose for a photo, so I just took I only had a wide angle lens on, so just snapped that shot there, which was quite fun. Then our food arrived very promptly, and we sort of stuck into that whilst having a nice chat, which was good, pretty tasty. I mean, as American food goes, it was all good, but it was very authentic, so you wouldn't know if you'd not been outside, you wouldn't know you're not in America, which is kind of cool. So that's sort of definitely a place to go and visit. So really good with that. The shots of today were really good, so really pleased with that. This is the one last shot I took of Eszter sat in the booth, rather full up after eating that hot dog.
Was that your full? They went too much hot dog.
Gosh, it actually hurts.
You ate too much. Wish you'd had pancakes now.
So guys, that was 1 month's worth of photo shoots with Eszter. This was number 4, so we did one every week, and she's going back home to her home country, which is Hungary, and hopefully I can shoot with her again. She's such a lovely girl, so photogenic, and just good fun to be working with. It's really real pleasure sort of working with her and giving her some photos, and actually hopefully some memories as well of the local places where she's been to and visited it as well while she's been here. So anyway guys, so please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and keep watching.